Welcome to the second part of the tutorial. This time we're going to look at how to actually work with Reactional Composer. Now the importing has finished and we can start designing interactivity within Composer. By default, these macros have been auto-generated, but you can create your own, of course. To better explain everything, I have deleted all of the default macros and let's recreate them ourselves. So I create a macro and I'm going to call this one energy, maybe. And for this one, I'm going to have a tempo scaling. You will see that most plugins have this common area here where you can set the quantization value. So this is how quickly this interactive block or plugin will respond to any input from the macro. So for the tempo, I usually like to set that at the fastest interval. So almost instantly it will respond to any changes. And this section here, in min and in max, will dictate when the plugin will start listening to the macro. So for instance, with this being at 0.4, I would have to go up to 0.4 for it to start making any changes. But for the tempo, I'm going to keep that at 0. However, for the map min and map max, I'm going to set that at a slightly different value. So 0.3 maybe for the minimum and max set to 0.7. And this essentially will remap the values from the input 0 to 1 to be 0.3 at minimum and 0.7 at maximum. Now here you can actually see what the 0 and 1 of the plugin would result in. So a 1 would be twice the tempo. So 0.7 would maybe be somewhere here at 0.75 of the tempo. Now you see this continuous toggle here. This means that whenever the range is active, so for this all over, the continuous toggle makes it so that the plugin will always process the value within that range. If it were set not to continuous, it would only trigger once when you enter the range set to be active. If we were to listen now, nice. So this lag parameter will smooth the values coming in from the macro and make it so that instead of being an instant change, the value will slowly move to its target. So let's keep this fairly high up at like 0.8 and then we can listen to it again. And you can hear it slowly ramping up to reach its destination. Let's add some more interactive blocks. First, create a few macros. Let's call this density. And this one we can call maybe mood. So for density, let's do a note probability. We will have that respond quickly as well. And currently it's targeting all of the instruments, but maybe we want to keep the drums from being affected. So for the note probability block, it has two values here that can be set. And this one skew is interesting because at a higher value, it will greatly favor any strong beats. So let's have a listen to that. And you can still hear the drums playing. You see this lightning bolt here. If that is toggled on, it means that the macro will auto-execute as soon as you start. So if I put this down here, it's going to start at the value of 0. Cool. So let's add something to the mood macro. For that, I'm going to use the Modal Transpose and keep every instrument affected. This one I want to have a quantized value of 1 bar so that the change happens on a bar line. That makes most musical sense. I'm going to keep this in the center. So center is basically when the scale is unaffected. And going further down, we will get a transposition that is lower than the original, and going up, it would be higher, of course. So let's have a listen again. Very nice. And we have, of course, a bunch of different more of these interactive blocks. A fun one is the random drag, which will mess with the timing of certain instruments. So we unselect all except for maybe the bass line of the synth pluck. And we'll set the quant to a smaller value, which means that the onsets will be pushed slightly. Sweet. And let's try one more. Let's do a velocity multiplier. Now let's unselect everything and just target the drums. So at 0.5 it will be normal velocity, anything above will push it up, anything below will make it softer. And let's listen for the drums here. Another super cool feature is that all of these instruments that are playing back now can actually be overridden live at any point, both from here and of course from within the game. So this little area down here is where you can preview your playable instruments. So now the synth pluck is targeted, and if I move this up, pitch goes up, and if I move it down, pitch goes down, of course. So if I play this together with the music, you will hear that I have now taken control of that instrument. And we can, of course, target other instruments as well. Now, one last thing, we have the stingers. If you recall, we made 2 stinger groups, one containing 2 different stingers. They are named Sting 1 and Sting 2. And if I play these together with the music, they will always trigger in time and in tune with whatever chord is being played. And we had the second part as well. Now that we are satisfied with our composition, we could either export it directly straight into a game, or we can log in to our Reactional account, wait for the one-time code that has been sent to our email, and log in. Now that we are logged in, we have access to our uploaded themes. So here's a list of themes that I have uploaded. And now I can save my project. And we're going to call this tutorial. And then we can upload this Reactional theme. Now it's going to ask you to record a snippet. So this will serve as the preview on the platform. Now let's continue the theme upload. I'm going to call this tutorial. It's made by me. Then we're going to define a target project. So let's do just one here. And description, my cool tutorial theme. And then tags. And the tags you can view on the documentation page, but they're mainly for defining genre or energy, etc. Genre, electronic. Now I can upload the theme. And while that is happening, I can go to the platform and go into that project. And then my theme will show up inside the bucket for this project. Here we have the tutorial theme. Gonna plop that in here. And now I can preview it and play with it here on the platform. But I can also now play together with one of the analyzed tracks from the Reactional licensing catalog or a track that I've uploaded on my own. So let's play them back together. So that concludes the second part of our Composer tutorial video series. Hopefully you'll be able to create your own themes in the near future.